On the exact same day that the Financial Times reported Saudi Arabia was about to pull funding from LIV Golf, the same day the Wall Street Journal used the words imminent closure, the Public Investment Fund released a brand new 5-year investment strategy. Golf was not mentioned once, not a single word. That is not an oversight. That is not a scheduling coincidence. When the sovereign wealth fund financing a $5 billion sports league releases its future investment priorities on the same day the world's financial press says that league is collapsing and does not include that league in the document, that is a message. And every player currently sitting inside LIV Golf needs to understand exactly what that message means for them personally, because the door back to the PGA Tour was open. It had a price, it had a deadline. 1 player walked through it, 3 did not. And this week, the man holding the keys went on television and said he is thinking about what comes next. Not building it, not offering it, thinking about it. If you follow the business side of professional golf the way real fans do, you already feel where this is heading. Subscribe right now and hit the bell. This is exactly the conversation this channel exists for. Let us start with what was on the table in January, because you cannot understand how serious the situation has become without understanding what was offered and what was turned down. When Brian Rolapp took over as PGA Tour Commissioner, one of his first significant decisions was creating a structured pathway home for a very specific group of LIV players. The criteria were deliberately narrow. The program was available only to players who had won a major championship or the Players' Championship since LV launched in 2022. That list had 4 names on it: Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Cameron Smith, Brooks Koepka. The price was real. Koepka, the only player who accepted, agreed to a $5 million charitable donation, forfeited FedEx Cup bonus money, gave up access to sponsor exemptions into signature events worth $20 million, and accepted that he would receive no equity grants in the PGA Tour's for-profit enterprise for 5 years. He paid every part of that price without public complaint. And then the February deadline passed. DeChambeau declined. Rahm declined. Smith declined. In January, with LIV still running at full capacity, Saudi money still flowing at $100 million per month, and contracts fully funded, that decision made sense. There was no urgency. The league was still making promises it appeared to be able to keep. The world looks completely different now. And here is where this story stops being about programs and deadlines and starts being about 3 players whose futures are changing in real time. Now here is the part that most coverage is not connecting properly. Rolapp appeared on television this week and said something that sounds diplomatic but is actually one of the most significant things said in professional golf this year. He said, the PGA Tour is thinking about what comes next for the players still inside LIV.
He said he does not know what is happening over there. He said the tour will react when it has an opportunity to react. He said that opportunity has not arrived yet. Think about what that means for Rahm and DeChambeau right now. In January, there was a defined program, defined criteria, defined cost, defined deadline. A player could look at the terms, make a calculation, and execute. The structure existed. Koepka used it. What exists today is none of that. There is no program, there is no offer, there is no deadline to work toward. There is a commissioner who is reading the same headlines everyone else is reading, his words, and thinking about what a bridge back might look like once the situation fully declares itself. Waiting for clarity in a situation you cannot control. That is where Rahm and DeChambeau are right now, and the stakes are not equal for both of them, not even close. Rahm's situation is the one that should make every golf fan genuinely uncomfortable to watch. Golf Digest confirmed that the PGA Tour believes Rahm has long regretted the move, that he may have made it in December 2023, expecting a PIF PGA Tour merger to close almost immediately.
That merger never happened. He is now 3 years removed from competitive Ryder Cup eligibility. Every week that passes is not just a week of uncertainty about contracts and prize money. It is a week of his legacy calcifying in a direction he did not intend. The Ryder Cup is not a prize money conversation. It is a legacy conversation.
and no contract can give that back. DeChambeau is more complicated. His contract runs through the end of 2026. He has back-to-back LIV wins at Singapore and South Africa from earlier this year. He has a YouTube channel with over 2 million subscribers that gives him commercial independence regardless of which tour he plays on. Earlier reporting described him as demanding, wanting more control, specific conditions, a steep asking price before any return negotiation becomes serious. But here is the thing about negotiating leverage that changes everything. Leverage is a function of options. When the organization funding your contract is walking toward the exit, the number of options available to you shrinks.
The asking price that made complete sense in January looks entirely different when the league paying it is in financial crisis, and its broadcast went dark for 3 hours in Mexico City 3 days after the collapse story broke. $125 million, and the cameras went dark. That contrast, the contract size versus the operational reality, is not a small detail. That is the gap between what LIV promised and what LIV is actually delivering right now. And DeChambeau was standing in the mud pointing at torn-up grass when it happened. But here is the thing that cuts through all of it, and this came not from Rolapp, not from a tour official, but from Harris English, a member of the PGA Tour's Player Advisory Council. English told Golfweek that the tour would need to figure something out, because adding some of those players back would put the tour exactly where it needs to be when television contracts come up for renewal. That is the truth underneath all the diplomatic language. DeChambeau and Rahm on PGA Tour telecasts are worth hundreds of millions of dollars in broadcast rights. The tour knows it. The networks know it. Rolapp knows it. The thinking happening right now is not charitable. It is strategic. And strategic thinking takes time. The players waiting for that thinking to become an offer do not have the same relationship with time that they had in January. Koepka understood the moment when it arrived. He calculated the cost, he paid it, and walked through the door. The others waited. The program closed. The league started collapsing. And now, the same man who designed that program is on television saying he is reading the headlines and thinking about what comes next. This is not a story about whether Rahm or DeChambeau made the right call in January. Reasonable people can disagree about that. This is a story about what happens to elite athletes when the organization that promised them security starts showing signs that the promises cannot be kept, and the alternative they turned down is no longer available in the form it was offered.
Koepka paid $5 million and gave up $20 million in exemptions to come home. At the time, some people thought that was a steep price. Right now, watching what is unfolding inside LIV Golf week by week, that price looks like it was exactly right. The door is closed, the bridge is being thought about, and 3 of the best players in the world are on the wrong side of both. Drop a comment right now. Do you think the PGA Tour should make it easy for Rahm and DeChambeau to come back, or should the price be even higher than what Koepka paid? Because that tension between competitive value and competitive principle is where this whole story lives. I want to know where real golf fans actually stand. Subscribe if you want coverage that connects the business of this tour to the golf we watch every week. This is exactly what this channel is built for. Share this with anyone who has been following the LIV collapse story, because this is the piece of it that nobody else is putting together clearly. See you in the next one.